right, back to some SEC games. Ooh, boy. Texas A&M with a backup quarterback goes into Gainesville, and it's not pretty.
You know,
33-20.
every time we get in one of these situations where there's a coach who it's become apparent to everybody that it's not going to work, and you just know it's a matter of time. There's usually sometimes there'll be a couple of games where the team will rise up and go, well, we can play harder or whatever. More often than not, the team just kind of quits. And, I mean, we saw it in 2012 with Gene Chizik, right?
Yes, we did.
We know something about that. We saw it in this state in 2000 with Mike DuBose. And it doesn't matter how much talent you have, and it doesn't matter, you know, 5-star quarterback. But I watched, and this, if I were a player, I'd want to quit too. And here's what I mean. I watched that game Saturday thinking in my mind, I think Napier can win this game. Because I don't think Texas A&M is really that much better than Florida. To me, they both look like about 7-win teams in terms of what they put on the field.
Right.
So he makes the decision that it's time for his 5-star prize freshman quarterback to play.
Part-time.
But not on a let's see who gets the hot hand, let's see how they're executing, you know, situationally. No. Just alternating series. No thought process more complicated than alternating series. That is something that an 8th grader does on a video game. That's not a professional coach coaching out his options. That was worth getting him fired at halftime of that game. And it should have gotten him fired after the game because there were a couple of possessions they had where Graham Mertz came in and went boom, 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 boom. Or if you're going to play them both and somebody gets hot, what is your point here to play them both, or is your point to win the game?
Right.
What an idiot. Look, I'm just going to say it. Bill. I mean, I'm sure Billy Napier's forgotten more about football than I'll ever know. But that's an idiotic way to play two quarterbacks. Just idiotic. And so, I would have fired him at halftime. Certainly would have fired him after the game. Graham Mertz in the game winds up 12-15 for 195 and a touchdown. That's why if you're going to go with Lagway, go with Lagway. And then you take your medicine with a freshman quarterback, right? And you can always make the argument, look, he wasn't quite ready, and we knew that, but we felt like it was time.
Right.
No, it's just, no. Texas A&M is not good.
I agree 1,000%.
Texas A&M, don't do this thing that seems to happen 4 or 5 times a year where people go, well, Texas A&M's pretty good. No, they're not. They're a 7-win team. Florida should be a 7-win team. They're going to wind up being like a 4-win team.
At best, at this point.
And that's on Billy Napier. So, yeah. If Napier – I mean, they got the bye week coming up next week. What if he goes to Starkville and loses, Andy?
I told you, I don't let him on the bus.
Yeah, I mean,
Does
he even survive? I mean, like I said, I would have had him gone Monday, but seriously.
I think it's one of those things where you fire him as he's walking off the field.
Yeah, don't bother in the locker room.
No, I mean,
we got a car to take you to the airport. Yeah. No, I mean, it was awful, man. And it was to the point that I almost felt bad for him.
They'll beat Mississippi State. Surely,
I mean, maybe.
JJ. Surely.
Maybe. Are they going to alternate quarterbacks by series again?
Now if they do that in that game, they ought to ban him for life.
I mean,
from football if they were to do that.
I understand if you want to play two quarterbacks. I understand if you want to get your 5-star freshman on the field. But if a quarterback gets hot, you got to ride the hot quarterback to a win because ultimately, in the words of the great Herm Edwards, you play to win the game.